the Division of Revenue Amendment Bill. And we are saying that MPs plotting power grab in the Division of Revenue Amendment Bill. A major standoff is currently underway in the country, pitting our two houses of parliament, the National Assembly and the Senate, against each other. On the surface, this standoff is about the Division of Revenue Amendment Bill 2024. The hidden reality, however, is that this standoff is about a power grab and an assault on the Constitution that members of the National Assembly want to execute, and which will amount to a cruel betrayal of the people and an overhaul of our structure of governance. This development has been brewing for some time since the coming of the National Government Constituency Development Fund and the National Government Affirmative Action Fund, which are in the hands of members of the National Assembly. These funds give MPs the power to conceive, implement projects, and oversight them at the same time. Having managed to entrench this anomaly, members of the National Assembly are now attempting to determine the amount of money counties get, despite the clear constitutional provisions on the revenue sharing. The members of the National Assembly are also scheming to dip their fingers into more executive projects like road maintenance levy fund at the national constituency level, in addition to the National Government Constituency Development Fund and the National Government Affirmative Action Fund. The Constitution assigns 3 roles to members of Parliament, and this is universal. 1, representation; 2, legislation; and 3, oversight. I repeat, representation, legislation, and oversight, period. Execution or implementation of programs has never been and can never be the job of members of Parliament without creating a serious accountability crisis in our governance system to the detriment of us all. Parliament makes laws and ensures that the laws are implemented and followed. It is against this backdrop that I find the ongoing standoff between our two houses of Parliament over division of revenue extremely scary, unhelpful, and unnecessary. The Constitution we promulgated in 2010 guides the way the government and our country works. It divides the government into 3 parts, each with the power to keep the other parts under control. It further creates 2 levels of government: the national government and 47 county governments. The 3 parts you know: the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. The 2 levels of government work in close consultation as espoused in Article 6, subsection 2 of the Constitution, which states, and I quote, "The governments at the national and county levels are distinct and interdependent and shall conduct their mutual relations on the basis of consultation and cooperation," unquote. Now, because MPs want to have their way with the abrogation of the Constitution and getting their pound of the flesh with regard to NGCDF, the Senate and the National Assembly are unable to agree on something the law is so clear about: sharing of the revenue between the national government and the county governments. Apparently, the National Assembly is in support of provisions that will lower the amount of money shareable to counties against the provision of the laws of the land and the tradition established since the coming of the devolved units. Against the laws of the land, the National Assembly is supporting a proposal that would provide that any revenue shortfall in the country is borne by both levels of government. The result of this unhelpful and unnecessary deadlock is that the operations of the already strained devolved units are moving towards a standstill, with critical services in jeopardy. This unlikely and unhelpful fight over allocation of revenue to counties threatens a shutdown at the counties at a time Kenyans need the units to function optimally and help boost the country's increasingly fragile economy. The National Assembly is pushing for the proposed amendment to the Division of Revenue Act, in which they recommend a 380 billion allocation to counties, which stands in contrast to the 400 billion already stipulated in the Appropriations Act, which is currently in force. The National Assembly is going all out to reduce revenue allocation to counties in complete disregard of the Constitution and the recommendations of the Senate. This move is not only illegal and unconstitutional, it also sets an extremely dangerous precedent which, if allowed to stand, will lead to a slow but steady strangulation and eventual killing of counties. The National Assembly must get it very clear that revenue allocation to counties can only go up, not down, unless the intention is to kill devolution. The Senate had asked for 416 billion for counties for the year 2024-25.